Hello, how are you all? Hopefully, you are always healthy. This time, we will discuss the film titled Naked Vengeance, which was released in 1985. The film tells the story of a woman who loses her husband, mother, and father due to a murder case. She seeks to find the perpetrator and avenge it in a way that is many times more brutal. Yes, without further ado, let's get straight to the plot. The film opens by showing a harmonious married couple. The wife's name is Carla. She lives a life that many women dream of, having a handsome and very wealthy husband named Harris. On that day, Carla celebrates her birthday, so they plan to have a special dinner. Both of them are very happy celebrating Carla's birthday at a luxurious restaurant. Then, as they prepare to go home, they see a woman being attacked by a criminal. This makes Harris move to help her. But who would have thought the criminal had a gun and fought Harris until he was lying down? Defeated because he had tried to shout for help, but others just closed their doors, so they couldn't fight back. When the criminal shoots her husband. This incident happened in just a few seconds until the police arrived and failed to chase the shooter. There, Carla realizes that her birthday night has turned into a disaster because her husband could not be saved. Soon after, the funeral process is carried out, leaving deep sorrow for Carla. Personally, she is determined to track down her husband's killer through a detective. However, it turns out the search process is very difficult because no one wants to testify. One of them is the person who closed the door. They refuse to get involved because they might consider their family who are afraid of being threatened. Meanwhile, the rescued woman also chooses to remain silent because it is known that the woman is a drug addict. So her testimony is difficult to accept. From there, the detective promises to contact her if he finds other evidence. Because it is better to stay at her parents' house for her safety, Carla heads to her parents' house in a small town in America. And after a few hours on the journey, Carla stops at a gas station and meets her ex-boyfriend who works there. His name is Charles, and he also introduces his friend named Sparkly. Charles then praises her because since long ago, Carla is still a beautiful, independent woman, but she feels uncomfortable when the man thinks she has divorced her husband. Upon arriving at her parents' house, Carla is immediately welcomed by her father and mother. She also meets Timmy, who is the gardener working at her house. After a few days there, Carla finally dares to go out shopping. While on the way to the supermarket, suddenly a truck stops, blocking her path. The driver gets out and openly teases her until a policeman named Katz comes to intervene in their commotion. Because of that, Carla immediately explains that she did not do anything wrong. But the policeman asks her to hand over her driver's license and asks some very cornering questions. After being allowed to go, Carla arrives at the supermarket to buy some meat. The butcher invites her to get acquainted because he realizes that Carla is a newcomer. The man introduces himself as Flage and openly invites her to meet outside. But like before, Carla rejects all men because she cannot forget her late husband. That night, Carla's parents say goodbye to leave town for vacation. Carla refuses to join, so she stays at home while her mother and father are away. During those few days, that night too, Carla tries to hang out at a fairly famous bar there. She sees Charles hanging out with a group of men. She also meets Estelle and her husband, who are her school friends. But the longer they talk, Estelle instead mocks her for having a more successful life. The conversation makes Carla feel disturbed, so she leaves her friend to drink at the bar. Although she is still dressed very modestly, Carla still attracts the attention of the bartender, who is a man with a scar on his nose. This makes her not hesitate to slap him before leaving the place. Then, when Carla is about to go home, the butcher who knows her suddenly appears and insists on taking her home. Automatically, Carla immediately refuses him. But the man corners her in the car until she has to kick him. Not finished there because she has not yet found a safe place. When she arrives home, Timmy follows her and peeks at her changing clothes. This action makes Carla serious about reporting him to the authorities. She then meets Sheriff Katz and tells him about the harassment by Timmy and Flats the night before, hoping the police will give fair punishment. But the man thinks this incident is something common. Behind his seemingly foolish attitude, Katz takes action by directly reprimanding Flat. He does not arrest him, but warns him as a friend to stay away from Carla. The story rolls on until Ray's bar is visited by his friends. They are Charles, Flage, Sparkly, Army, who works as a truck driver, and there's also Timmy, who is actually underage. They are a group of men rejected by the same woman, Carla. There, Timmy shows off to them that he works at Carla's house and often peeks at her activities. He also tells them that Carla is alone at home, so their minds start to be filled with evil intentions towards the woman. 6 drunk men then go to Carla's house and knock on her door like a guest. They immediately do whatever they want until Carla is helpless. When all the men treat her very cruelly, they take turns torturing her until she realizes that the 5 men have gone too far. At that moment, she tries to stop them, but they're already overcome by lust. Coincidentally, Carla's parents suddenly return home to see their daughter in a pitiful condition. Suddenly, her father takes a gun to fight, but Charles pushes him until the bullet misses and hits the mother. Even Charles kills the father until Timmy panics and wants to report their actions. But unfortunately, he also dies when confused about how to cover up this death. Charles makes false evidence that Timmy is the perpetrator. They place the gun in the father's lap, who is protecting his family. Then, after making sure to hide all the evidence, they leave without realizing that Carla is still conscious. Carla then immediately calls the police until her parents' bodies are handled. This case is handled by Sheriff Katz and leaves a peculiarity about the location of the gun in the right hand, while he knows very well that Carla's father is left-handed. Since then, the lives of the 5 men have not been peaceful because they cannot forget the incident. They blame each other until Flage intervenes that they have done it and must be able to cover it up together. During that time, the investigation process continues until Flats finds out from Sheriff Katz that Carla is still alive and undergoing treatment due to trauma. Currently, Carla does not want to talk to anyone, but they know that someday Carla will surely reveal everything. But instead of leaving town, they want to stay here and act as if nothing happened. The next day, Sheriff Katz starts visiting the hospital to force Carla to give testimony, but the doctor has not allowed it because Carla is still experiencing severe trauma that makes her silent. At the same time, the patient next door, who is a victim of harassment, suddenly cries hysterically while saying she will avenge all the actions of the perpetrator. This makes Carla's feelings burn and secretly goes to Ray's bar, which is about to close. There, she starts her revenge by taking Ray's pistol and forcing the man to bathe himself with alcohol. Then, when Ray begs for mercy, Carla immediately throws a candle until the man dies burned. In just a short time, the bar fire shocks the surrounding residents. Flat also knows about it and starts to worry about their future. As time goes on, Carla's health also shows improvement. Carla then asks the doctor's permission to go around until she sees Charles riding a speedboat. At that moment, Charles is enchanted by Carla's beauty until he is careless. When Carla stabs him, the woman even throws a nail that pierces his chest and lets Charles be dragged by his own boat. That night, Charles's body is found very tragically and makes this week's murder case the most numerous. The police do not find any trace of the perpetrator, but because she is made the main suspect, Carla suddenly disappears and leaves a picture of a scale that means justice. That opportunity is used by Flat to incite the residents to arm themselves if they ever find Carla. They then demonstrate to the police station until Sheriff Katz expels them, because this case is the duty of the authorities. A while after leaving the hospital, Carla sneaks into Sparkly's gas station. When a man is straightening all the cars, Carla pulls his jack until Sparkly feels very painful before dying crushed by the car body. Carla then immediately runs away until the police chase her and mobilize all units to block her. This makes Carla hide in the forest until the day darkens and the police fail to find her. Heading to the next target, Carla gives a surprise at an ice factory where Ernie works. Without hesitation, she runs over him with a truck. Although Ernie only suffers a leg injury, the two of them get into a fight inside the factory until Ernie is pushed into the ice cutting machine. Leaving there, Carla is chased by Flat, who joins some of the town's residents. Carla then immediately goes to her house, blocks all the doors, and escapes through the vent where people are furious until they burn her house. There, Katz comes to ask what happened here until Flat answers him by pretending not to know anything. But even though he has covered up his evil, Katz is very aware that there are many odd things, so he sarcastically tells him to be careful not to become the next target. One night, when Flat is about to close his meat shop, suddenly Carla appears attacking him with a meat knife. Flat is very surprised because he thinks Carla has died due to the fire incident. But it turns out the woman reappears and is willing to risk her life to fight him. After both of them are covered in blood, Carla finds a gun that is very similar to the gun used to kill her family. Carla then uses the gun to shoot Flage and finish all the pain that deserves to be paid with life. Not long after, when Flage's body is found, Katz also sees a picture of a scale drawn with bloodstains. Then, he receives a call from Detective Ruzu, who says that the perpetrator of Carla's husband's shooting has been found, and they need Carla to confirm his face. There, Katz just finds out about it. But everything is too late because Carla may have died. Meanwhile, the criminal can only be detained for 24 hours. Two months later, in New York City, Carla is still alive and has successfully found her husband's murderer. At first, she approaches him, and then ends up shooting him until all her revenge is complete.